The staff at Braxton Craven Middle School has long worked to ensure that student behavior provides a classroom environment where learning can occur. Over the years, we've refined the strategies that we use and the processes we follow in dealing with student behaviors. This past summer, a team of teachers participated in PBIS training, Positive Behavior Intervention Strategies, to further improve our skill in creating an excellent learning environment for your children. BCS staff have adopted the PBIS Behavior Expectations Model for use during this school year. Since parents are key players in each child's academic and behavioral education, we want to make sure that you are fully clear on how PBIS will work at Braxton. First, I'd like to introduce the PBIS team to you at Braxton Craven. Our team leader is Leslie Jenkins. She's the math teacher on the Spartans team. Our in-school coach is Scott Hager. He is a Randolph County Schools social worker who is assigned at Braxton Craven. Our recorder is Marilyn Toland. She is a language arts teacher for the Pirates team. Our communications person is myself, Sarah Allred, the lead teacher here at Braxton. The data manager is our assistant principal, Ralph Jarrett. Our timekeeper is Frankie Hemingway, a curriculum support instructor. Our principal, Dana Johnson, of course, is part of our team. And actually, active participants of our team include the entire BCS staff. We include not only our classroom teachers, but all the folks that come into contact with our students during the day. That includes our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, and our custodial staff. Everyone here at Braxton works together to help make sure that behavior expectations are what we want it to be, so that Braxton Craven is a place that your child will want to be to learn. Now, first we want to make sure that you understand what PBIS is. And honestly, this is a really long definition. I'll share that with you and then we'll talk a little bit about exactly what it means. PBIS is a decision-making framework that guides selection, integration, and implementation of the best evidence-based strategies for improving academic and behavior outcomes for all students. Sure you enjoyed the sound of the classroom change bell there. So, what does that definition mean? Really what it is PBIS is a systematic way to make decisions about what do we do when a student is having either academic or behavior problems. We don't just randomly pick something to do. We follow a set pattern or decision-making process. Now, in this decision-making process, there are really four very important parts or elements that come into that. First is the data for our decision-making. When we make a decision, we just don't do it on the fly or based on our feelings or emotions. We're looking at information about what's going on with the student academically, what might be going on with them socially, what might be going on at home. We're looking at all factors that are going on. Our data might include classroom scores. It might include a time of day certain things are happening, what events are happening, who's involved. Look at all the data involved there. Second are the outcomes. What do we want to happen as a result of our actions? Third would be our practices. What are the strategies that we can use? And in particular, what strategies can we use that have proved to be successful? And then last of all, the systems that are going to efficiently help us make these decisions and get some action happening for the children without wasting a lot of time. Another way to look at these four elements to PBIS is through this picture. This just shows you how the data and the systems and the practices all work together to promote the outcomes that we're looking for. We use those things together in order to support our decision-making process. Now the next question is, why do we feel like we need PBIS at Braxton Craven? We actually have a wonderful student body of relatively well-behaved students and honestly have rare instances of serious behavior issues. Still, in any situation where there's a large group of children in one place, problems are sure to arise. Last school year, student behavior issues resulted in a total of approximately 216 days of lost instructional time. In comparison to other middle schools, this is actually quite low. It's only about 1/2 of a day per student. But to us, this is an alarmingly large amount of time lost. We decided to implement PBIS in an effort to decrease the amount of lost instructional time due to behavior issues. This graphic shows how the behavior intervention programs at BCS work together. The gears really are an illustration of how each part fits in together. First, we have classroom interventions in the bottom. This is where your classroom teachers are dealing with what's going on with the students. Behaviors that we might see are examples here in the talk box. Non-compliance, talking back, horseplay, disrespect. Those are things that typically the classroom teacher deals with on their own. If there are things that escalate from that point, then the teacher might deal with an office referral. Or if it's something that is way beyond what the teacher would be dealing with, as the examples listed in the box above that, then an office referral and the administrators would take over. Now, another element that we have working at Braxton Craven, you can see, is this third gear. It's something that we have called our Watchdogs program. This is another piece that it comes into play when the classroom interventions don't seem to be working and we see a pattern of repeated problems, whether it be academic problems that are ongoing or it might be behavior problems that are ongoing, whether it's not completing work, working below their ability, being off task, continually disrupting class. This is a team of people who gets together and goes through a process of decision making to look for what strategy. There's the sound of that bell again. Sorry about that. This team works together to look for what strategy is going to work best for that student in that particular situation. Now, this PBIS program works very closely with some systems we already have in place here at Braxton. First thing we're looking at here is something that we call our pyramids of academic interventions. Now, this really looks like a diamond to you, I know. This is two pyramids actually turned on their sides. To explain what this is looking like, the number ones that are in the center are strategies that are used for every single student in the school, regardless of what level they are on, whether they're above grade level, below grade level, whatever. And I know the picture here is probably too small for you to read the words very clearly, but I will let you know there is a copy of this in your child's agenda, so if you'd like to read it more closely, you can see that there. So the number ones are the things that we offer for every single student. It's just our general curriculum. Now, moving out from that, the number twos, you can see there's one on either side. There's an acceleration side and a remediation side. As we start to get to know our students a little better, we see that some students might be a little bit behind in one area or another. If that's the case and they are behind, then they would move to the number two on the remediation side. And in that case, teachers could offer some of the strategies that are listed under the number two. This might include the skill-specific pause, like we're starting soon. It might include some study hall, some catch-up time, several different programs that could help that child catch up to where they need to be. Alternatively, if the teacher sees this child is a little bit above grade level where they need to be, they're on the acceleration side under number two. There are some things that they can do to address that child's accelerated needs as well. So we're not only addressing the children who are right where they need to be at 6th grade level. We've also got strategies in place for students who are a little bit behind, and some things in place for those kids who are ahead as well, so that we can make sure every single student right where they are is continuing to learn and grow and move forward. Now the additional levels, the 3 and the 4, would simply be at increasing levels of intensity. For remediation, if they're even farther behind, they might go to a level 3 or to a level 4. For acceleration, again, if they're even farther advanced, they might move up to a level 3 or up to a level 4. Again, this would be looked at on an independent, student-by-student basis to fit that particular student's needs. Another tool that we use that's very much similar to the academic interventions pyramid is our discipline interventions pyramid. Now this doesn't really have two pyramids, we've just got one, but the concept is similar. There is also a copy of this in your child's agenda that you can take a look at if you'd like to look at it more closely. The number one, the base level, the biggest level, is classroom discipline. This is where the majority of any sort of behavior problems are dealt with, because most of the time the stuff we have going on isn't anything particularly serious. It's things that the teachers can deal with at a pretty low level in the classroom. You can see in the number one there's some examples of behaviors that might cause these type of discipline activities. The discipline interventions are listed there. They might be a change in seat in the classroom, a lunch detention, or referral to a specialist who might be able to assist. There's a variety of things there. This is the number one. Again, this is what's used for the majority of our behavior problems. These are our classroom discipline strategies. Now, if our teachers find that after using several of these strategies, and actually we look for aiming for at least 6 of these unless the behavior is something that's just really extreme. If those things aren't working, then the teacher would move to the level 2. This might mean that a student goes to choices for that class period, if it's repeated behavior, or if it's something more serious, then it might involve a referral to the office, and then the principal would be the one who would decide whether they needed to move to a level 3 or a level 4 behavior intervention. The level 3 and level 4 interventions are things that only the administrators can make decisions about. The classroom teachers would not be involved in those decisions. An additional piece to our behavior plan here at Braxton is something we called our behavior expectations matrix. Now your students should have a copy of this that they have been given by their teacher to put into their binder. This one is not in their agenda. But the whole point of the PBIS is that the first word, positive, that we are looking at the positive end of things, not just the punishment side of behavior. So rather than just looking at what the consequences are, we want to focus on with our students the positive. What are the positive expectations that we have for them? So that's the whole point of this matrix here. The chart shows the expectation for behavior in several different settings here at Braxton Craven. Our motto here at Braxton Craven is, we believe, we care, and we will succeed. We are teaching students that they can do this by respecting themselves, others, learning, and property. If you look, this matrix shows how they can respect themselves, others, learning, and property in each of these different settings in our school. To look at one specific example a little closer up, this shows in our classroom. How can we respect ourselves? By doing our best, by being on task, being prepared, being on time. So again, this is a positive. This is what we are looking for. This is what we want, the good behaviors from our students. These are very specific for exactly what we are looking for as teachers and students at Braxton Craven. So the question you may have now, well, what does this mean for my child, for me as a parent at Braxton Craven? Well, the Braxton Craven faculty will first teach, model, and practice the rules and behavior expectations at the start of the school year, and we will review these frequently. If we find that a student is not meeting the expectations, we're going to ask them to stop whatever it is that they're doing and make sure that they do understand what the expectations are. Also, Braxton Craven faculty will try to figure out why the misbehavior is happening. Most of the time, students are not misbehaving just to be bad. Usually there's some other reason behind it. Next, we're going to reteach the expectations and celebrate when we see our kids doing it the right way, because again, our focus should be on the positive, not the punishment. Last of all, we are going to make sure we communicate with and involve parents and other staff members to help us come up with solution strategies. So how is this different from a traditional type of discipline versus the PBIS plan that we're going to be using? As I mentioned before, a traditional discipline program focuses on student problem behaviors. The goal is to just stop the behavior through use of some sort of punishment. That's probably what we were used to in our schools. It may very well be how we do things at home. That's what we were trained in and what we're used to. The PBIS model of behavior system replaces an undesired behavior with a new behavior or skill, and it alters environments, teaches appropriate skills, and rewards appropriate behavior. Again, as the whole name of the model states, the focus is on the positive. We're looking at and focusing on what the positive expectations are and continually focusing on reteaching that and rewarding that. Now, with that said, our focus on the positive, it does not mean that there won't be consequences for misbehavior. Unfortunately, the reality of life is that if you make a poor choice and do something that you shouldn't, there is some sort of consequence that goes along with it. As I said, that's just part of life. We are, however, shifting our focus to the positive expectations that create a good learning environment and using a wider variety of strategies to help all students follow those expectations. Please know if you ever have questions or concerns about behavior at Braxton Craven, you can contact your child's teacher, the school's counselor, or one of the administrators. We want to work as a team with you to make sure your child's got the best learning experience ever here at Braxton Craven.